amazing. This is the best compost we've ever made. By far. By far. Yeah, that was plankton, not a turd, see? Our first wheelbarrow full of beautifully processed Humanure. So, if you've seen the movie Gandhi or read Gandhi's autobiography, there's a scene where they're living in the ashram and his wife starts complaining about dumping the poo buckets, and he gets angry, they have an argument, and he talks about how the highest form of spirituality, the highest form of enlightenment is dealing with the lowest tasks in the best way that you can, with a heart of service and joy. So I'd say that is the main benefit of composting your own poo. Is that you feel that on a deep psychological level. You feel that your life has integrity with the earth. You know, you're the thing that people find the most gross or want to avoid the most, you're handling it. You're handling it in your own life and in your own landscape in a way in which you're creating life rather than just exporting your problems to somebody else, which is kind of the biggest deal right now. The biggest deal is that we export our pollution to other places, to other, you know, not in my backyard, right? Like, I'm just gonna export all my problems and the things that I do that make my life comfortable to somebody else. So when you're doing this, you're not doing that. It makes me feel like a good person. It makes me, since I am someone who cares about my impact on the planet and is trying to do my part in whatever small way to be part of the solution, this makes me feel like I'm part of the solution and that I'm not hiding. You know, so many people are sticking their head in the sand about the problems there are and not dealing with the shit. You know, there's this idea that the most important thing you do on your land is care for the water that comes out lower in the watershed. That's kind of like your primary job as a landowner in the you know, the world that we share with each other. You know, we don't think so. There's so much in our culture in America. We think so much about private property and our land, and but the biggest challenge with our system is that it doesn't give value to the commons. You know, and the commons being that all of those intangibles, for example, the water quality that comes out of your property and the air quality that comes out of your property and goes to the common air or the common sea. So if you're taking that seriously as someone who cares about the environment, then it's just way better to be composting your own poo, using it as a beneficial element for your land and protecting the water that goes off into the watershed. And you know, I think people are often worried about how, if this thing's going to work, is it gonna leach? And as long as you keep it protected from the rain, it's not going anywhere. It's just gonna do its anaerobic processing right here. It's when you add, you know, gallons and gallons of water to your feces and then put it in the ground, that's when it becomes a problem. You know, it's really all about the right of moisture content in the poo. Once you get the right moisture content, then it becomes a resource and not toxic. There's one of my favorite Ayurvedic teachers would always say there's no such thing as a poison. There's just poisonous quantities. So there's no such thing as toxic sewage, just poisonous quantities of anaerobic bacteria that can make you sick. So yesterday I was listening to an interview with the guys from Yes Theory. If you've seen them, they do their whole premise is that taking on things that are uncomfortable makes you grow as a human being, makes you a better human. And you know, they're doing the sexy stuff like traveling around the world, jumping out of airplanes and all that. I love all that stuff too, but yeah, I mean, you get the same thing by just, you know, cleaning up and processing your own poo. From that, you know, I want to travel the world and have exciting adventures too, but growing and becoming a better person and, you know, having more happiness and success in your life literally can look like having a better attitude about the shitty things in life. So I had a really awesome teacher when I used to do more Native American sweat lodges. His name was Wolf, and he used to say, you know, life's full of suffering, so we like to schedule it in. And I think that's a really wise teaching. You know, life, that's the Buddhist teaching too. You know, life is full of suffering, but if you can have a good attitude and literally practice scheduling in the discomfort. You know, a lot of people, there's a huge movement of the workout fitness scene these days, and the cold plunges, and I'm totally into all that stuff too. But you can get some of that benefit, or actually I think an amazing amount of that benefit, just by doing these kind of things. This kind of uncomfortable, frowned upon task, right? Like, you're not going to get any medals, you're not going to get any awards, nobody's gonna, you know, you're not going to get the Nobel Prize for scrubbing out your poopy buckets in your composting system. But you might get happier, you might have a better life, and I kind of think you will. Maybe the thumbnail and title for this video should be Poop, the way to enlightenment. So I can hear the objections to the composting toilet system. You know, the truth is it is a little more work, but not that much more work. If you don't care about the environment, and when I say the environment, I mean how humans interact with the natural landscape and either enhance the conditions for life, for our own life and for all life, because, you know, everything's connected, so you don't get to just enhance your life. If you enhance your life and degrade the rest of life, then eventually it catches up with you or your children or your children's children. So it's a little more work, you know, but the heart feeling of doing the right thing, sleeping better at night, knowing that we made this beautiful compost which is going to feed us, it's not really that much more work. It's just a little more work, and it's just all concentrated in one sitting. About, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was really struggling with my health in a lot of ways. I had digestive issues, energy issues, and inflammation in my joints, and just lots of problems. I don't know. I mean, I thought I was going to have to quit surfing. I thought I was going to have to quit being a contractor and a builder, and then I really started delving into the microbiome, and you know how, you know, there's more genetic material in and on your body of other creatures, other bacteria and other creatures than there is your own genetic material. And you know, that really began to shift even more my thinking about us being not individuals so much as interconnected relations. You know, we have our own point of awareness, which is what we call us, or what we call ourselves, we call I. And but the truth is we exist by the grace of all the other creatures that live in and on us and around us. And you know, composting your own feces, poo, stool, shit, gets you so much closer to your own process, your own microbiome. You know, after I started really paying attention to the other creatures that live inside of me, you know, we like to say in our house, we're feeding our friends. You know, when we go for some extra fiber or prebiotics, we're feeding the friends in our belly. And so, you know, when you deal with your own poo, you're just that much more connected to the interconnectedness of your own health and the interconnectedness of all life. And so it's a holistic practice for personal vitality and planetary health. The point is that this right here, these buckets, this compost, this pile of future Humanure, it's a metaphor for how each of us individually and communally can take personal responsibility for the commons, for the air and for the water, for the biodiversity and the biomass on the planet in a way that's simple. You know, it doesn't take, we don't have to leverage our life to some outside corporate or bureaucratic entity. We can do it right here, right now. You know, it's become very popular these days to really focus on the giant corporate and governmental entities and make them change. And I believe that's critical. But we can't spiritually bypass or personally sidestep the need for us to confront our own waste, our own wastefulness, our own greed, our own desire for more than is sustainable. I truly believe that with the power of the creative mind, we can create an abundant world. It's just going to take a cultural movement where more of us ground our spirituality, our cultural identity inside the earth, inside the life, the network of life that supports us and is us. I suppose that's what I want to close on, is that composting toilets connects you to the interconnectedness that is you. You know, it's instead of having some lofty spiritual idea that somehow you're going to fix nature or you're going to fix civilization, you know, coming back down into the root of it, that you are, what comes in you and what goes out of you is one with the environment around you. And on the most tangible level, just dealing with your own excrement, feces, poo, shit. You become tangibly more connected to what's right and what the world really needs to heal. Not some lofty intellectual ideal or some philosophical construct, but the real stuff that needs to be done. So try a composting toilet, compost more of your stool, talk to a friend, tell them to start composting, read the Humanure handbook. So a very like a practical spiritual tome, kind of like what I'm talking about composting and Humanure. Hey, let's all do selfies of our Humanure compost piles, all right?